it's Jessica Crew. Welcome back to another video. As you can tell, this will be a video on my wonderful series about Amazon. Actually, not Amazon Fresh, because you know it's a little bit different, but this is the pros and cons of what it's like working at an Amazon Fresh warehouse. It's been a minute since I put out an Amazon video, and some of my subscribers are actually here for my Amazon videos, so I thought I'd give an update. Not really an update, but more just like another video on Amazon. I've been working for Amazon for about 7 months, going on 8 now. Me personally, I absolutely hate it. I have found another job, but I'm still working at Amazon just to keep the benefits, but I'll get into that later on why I still have my job at Amazon. You'll understand that. But yes, I have worked there in the warehouse. I worked strongly in the warehouse for about 5 months, and then I got a job at Target, and then now I have another job. So I've just kind of been going back and forth, but I still maintain to keep my job there. To start off, I'm going to do the positives first. Make sure that you watch the whole video, because while the positives are really good, the negatives also might have an effect on what you think about the job that you're going to be working at. One positive thing about working at Amazon is the pay. The pay is so good. You get $15 an hour. $15 an hour is everywhere across the United States. So that's good. You can work at any Amazon Fresh or any regular Amazon warehouses and get $15 an hour. The wonderful thing also about pay is they have surge pay, and for me, I personally use this a lot because I absolutely hate Amazon, but if I'm gonna go work for a place that I don't like, I'm trying to get as much money as I can. So basically, surge pay is where they pay you up to, I think, $5 an hour. That's how much I get. We get an extra $5 an hour. So on top of your base pay, you can get an additional $3 to $5 added to that. So for my warehouse, I believe a lot of the times they add an extra $5. Sometimes it's $3, but I haven't seen any in between. Usually it's either $3 or $5. For me personally, I prefer to work when it's $5 added to it, just because it's more. Usually the surge pays are at night, and I'm not talking like late at night, but I believe like I pick the time to work between 5 to 10 a lot, so they'll have surge pay between 5 to 10, so it's not like you're there like overnight, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so on top of the surge pay, they have really great holiday pay. So for example, I worked Memorial weekend, and they had a surge pay, so it was $20 an hour, and then you get that, your $20 an hour, and then half of the $20, like since my warehouse, I'm part-time, I work 5-hour shifts, so they did my 20 hours, my 20 hours, and then they gave me half of what I got from doing my 20 hours. It was my $20 an hour shift plus an extra half of what I made from my $20 shifts, if that makes sense. Another positive about working at Amazon is you're only required to work 3 days out of the 1 calendar month to keep your job. So for instance, that's why I still work at Amazon, for all the benefits, but I only have to do 5 hours. I only have to work a total of 15 hours at Amazon, and that's throughout the whole month. So to me, that's not really a big deal. And to keep like the holiday pay and all of that good stuff, like why wouldn't you want to work there? Why wouldn't you want to keep your job? But the work actually is very tiresome, and it can be a bit much for people, in my opinion. But once you start working, you'll just be like, why did I sign myself up for this? And I think that's what a lot of people think, but I also think that sometimes that's all people have, so it's not really an option for them. For a non-degree having job, I mean, the pay is just great, so I would say that. I've worked at Target, which it's both $15 an hour, but to be honest, Amazon's better. They have up to $20 an hour, so it really just depends. But don't take my word for it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hate it. No, actually go to your warehouse and experience it for yourself. A lot of people ask me like, how many hours can you put in a week? That really depends on if you're part-time or full-time. So part-time, you pick your schedule. You pick what times you want to work, all of that good stuff, how many hours you want to work, if you want to work 2 shifts in 1 day, or if you want to like break it up, work 4 days a week, I don't know. Part-time, you pick all of that. Full-time is a different story. Full-time, your schedule is set, so they pick it for you. They feel like whenever time they need you to work, you have to work, which is why I prefer, if you have a part-time opening for Amazon, I prefer you do the part-time Amazon, because not knocking full-time, but part-time is a little bit better than full-time, and you can always you can work part-time and still basically work full-time, if that makes sense. And part-time has the same benefits as full-time. I think full-time might just have like a little bit more on like the medical insurance and stuff like that, but basically it's the same thing, same pay, all of that. You still get surge pay, but I think in my opinion, seeing from what I've seen, that part-time is better, and part-time just works for me, honestly. And if you don't feel like working, you're basically your own boss when you're part-time, and that's just one thing. Another pro that I have, answering questions from my other videos that I got a lot was, is there a drug test? There is a drug test for working at Amazon. For me personally, when I first got into Amazon, I did not experience taking a drug test. I was a seasonal employee, so that meant that I wasn't really an associate, but I still worked for Amazon. I did have to go in, right about my 6-month period, I had to go in and take a drug test to keep my job because, like I said, being seasonal, they can fire you at any time. So I did have to go in and take a drug test just to keep my job as a regular associate, part-time associate. So that's on drug test. Another pro about working at Amazon is they have an app called Amazon A to Z. I recommend that you do download this app before you start working. So what's good about this app is once you download it, you can actually put in all your information, and then what will happen is you have the option to either clock in or clock out. So you can clock in and clock out from your phone. A problem that has happened with this is people will just clock in and clock out anywhere they want and not actually be in work. Like I said, everything you do is tracked, so if you're not in the warehouse, they will track you down for time theft and have an investigation on you, and basically you'll end up getting fired. I know people that have done that. It is not good. Please do not do that. Please do not clock in while you're not at work. But I actually really like it. You don't have to go to the grimy time clock where everybody goes, especially not during Rona season. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to do anything. You just scan, like before you leave, you just clock out, and it's just good. Which, going off of clocking in and clocking out, another good thing that you have is you have a 5-minute grace period. Get to work and clock in, or you're gonna be considered late. So say your start time to work is 5 o'clock. If you clock in at 4:55, it's still gonna, like, their system automatically puts it in that you're actually clocking in at 5. I don't know who would want to go to work early, but hey, you do you, sis. But also, if say you're running a little bit late to work, you have extra 5 minutes to clock in from 5 o'clock. So for example, if you work at 5, you have till 5:05 to clock in, and then after that you're considered late, and it's like a whole point system that you get if you get too many. And I think like once you hit 3 points, you get a warning or something, or you get terminated. I don't know which one it was, but they'll teach you all this on orientation day. And that's also with leaving early. So if you leave more than 5 minutes early, that's also another point. But you can leave up to, say if your shift ends at 10, you can leave at 9:55. You can clock out at 9:55 and you'll be good, and it'll clock your time in that you're leaving at 10. I think that's it for all of my pros. Let's get into the cons. So my first con would probably have to be the one that I hear the most that people complaining about, is being on your feet the whole time except for like your 15-minute break. But basically, since you are in a warehouse, you do have to go get things, bring things, pack things, do all of that. So you're not really sitting down in the warehouse, you're basically on your feet the whole time doing work nonstop. That's basically how it is, which then leads me into my other con that I have. Is basically everything that you do at the Amazon warehouse is being tracked by the lovely managers that are there. As soon as you clock in, everything is being tracked. How fast it takes you to sign in, how fast it takes you to go to your cart, how fast it takes you to get to your location. And once you start working there, it's actually an algorithm of, like, say if you scan one location and you go to another location, maybe it took you a longer period of time to get to the location, it'll like kind of flag it just a little bit to like say, oh, she didn't take her normal time to get to that location. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that's tracked that seems to be a problem at my warehouse is people take too long of breaks. And how it works, I work in an Amazon Fresh warehouse in Virginia. If you work one 5-hour shift, you get a 15-minute break, and then if you work anything over 6, you get a 30-minute break that you have to clock out for. To be honest, during COVID, they were giving 2 15-minute breaks even if you were working 5 hours. I don't know if they ever stopped that. They didn't tell us they stopped that. I don't really know, but yeah, I think you're gonna have to like ask on training day if it's still 2 15-minute breaks. I'm not really sure. When they tell you they track you, they really do track you. Everything's tracked. So even if you're doing something called batching, which when you start working there, you'll get introduced to what that is and know all that stuff later. But once you labor check into batching, your name goes on like a list on like the manager who's in charge of batching. Your name goes on a list on his computer, so it'll actually tell him how fast you're scanning each item, putting it into this location, that location, all of that jazz. So yeah, everything that you do is tracked, is the moral of the story. Another con working at Amazon, this is for part-time only, so if you're working at Amazon part-time, this is for you. But another con is that shifts are first come, first serve. So basically what they do is they give all the full-time employees their schedule, and then they basically say, okay, well, we have room for other people, we have room for our other associates to work at these times, and then they put out the times in the list that we can work. So basically that's just what it's like. Basically you go on Amazon Moment and you just pick what shift you want, what time you want to work, all that goodness. So yeah. Another con about working at Amazon Fresh is, oh my god, is the freezer. I'm so sorry. You're gonna hear me talk about the freezer in all my videos, but the freezer is like death. When you look at the freezer, you're just gonna like not hate yourself, but you're just gonna be like, why did I sign up for this, if that makes sense. But please, if you work at an Amazon Fresh and you're watching this video, please let me know if your freezer experiences are as bad as my freezer experiences. For me personally, basically they only give you like, I think it's eight bags. I think it's 8 bags. 8 or 10 bags. They only give you 8 or 10 bags to work inside the freezer. But even still, like I said in my other videos, I have to put on like layers of gloves, like 2 hand warmers. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I think that's one of the bad things about working at a Amazon Fresh location, is that you're in 3 different climates at a time. The best, of course, is to work ambient or to stow ambient or receive ambient. Anything in ambient is the best. Ambient or Biggs are like the 2 best things, in my opinion, to work for or to do when you're on the job. But you don't really get to pick. You just come in, scan the little thing, and it's gonna pick a location for you to go to. They do have other jobs such as batching, stowing, receiving. They have, what are they called? Packer. They have the packers, like the packer peoples. They have sorting. And then they have other little things, like you basically work for like they have a job where you like work for the managers, and basically if like a bag is dropped or something at the packing station, basically you go out in the warehouse and you get all the items and bring it back for them. That's one little job that they have. I think that's all the jobs basically. So those are just some of the pros and cons. If you actually work at an Amazon Fresh warehouse, please let me know if you have some of the same pros or cons, or if you have some pros and cons that I didn't mention in the video, please drop them in the comment section below so other people are also aware. I tried to make this video as informing as I could and kind of give you guys some of the good and the bad of working at Amazon. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and leave a like. I will try to do more Amazon videos, but my channel is not mainly for Amazon content, so I apologize for my Amazon subscribers, but I do have other things on my channel. Like I said, I'm a young adult. I kind of do a little bit of everything, but I will probably do another Amazon update video. Maybe in the future, maybe I'll do like another Q&A. Thank you so much for watching.